Breaking news, Errol Spence gave his reaction to Danny Garcia's win over Jose Benavidez, where Errol Spence stated, quote, "That extra weight felt good. Laugh out loud. Danny and his pops need to stop making excuses of why they lost to me. Nobody's trying to hear that shit. For real. Laugh out loud." End of the quote. This is so crazy because I was literally giving Danny Garcia props for not making excuses when he lost to Errol Spence, like Teofimo Lopez, Rolly, Canelo, Vasyl Lomachenko, and the rest of the sore losers gang. Then all of a sudden, Danny Garcia felt the need to join the sore losers gang, which makes no sense whatsoever because if anybody that should be making excuses is clearly Errol Spence, who was coming off a car accident where he survived in a miracle way. Leading up to the Errol Spence versus Danny Garcia fight, the million-dollar question was, is Errol Spence gonna ever be the same after that car accident where Errol Spence could have ended his life? However, thanks to God, he did survive in a miracle way. On the other hand, Danny Garcia, leading up to the Errol Spence fight, he stated on more than one occasion that that was the best he ever felt leading up to a fight. But now all of a sudden, they expect us to believe that Danny Garcia wasn't 100% when he fought Errol Spence. However, some way, somehow, Errol Spence was 100% coming off a car accident. I mean, come on. Make it make sense. If anything, Errol Spence was 60% of himself that night when he beat Danny Garcia, at best. And he still managed to dominate Danny Garcia. These excuses have to stop. Because if Danny Garcia couldn't beat that version of Errol Spence that was the most vulnerable ever, then let's be real. Danny Garcia will never be able to beat Errol Spence. And that's a fact. Because the boogeyman version of Errol Spence before the car accident, Danny Garcia wasn't trying to fight him. Danny Garcia, Keith Thurman, and majority of the welterweight division weren't trying to fight Errol Spence back in his heyday when he was the boogeyman. It wasn't until tables turned. And if Danny Garcia fought that version of Errol Spence, the fight would have ended in an ugly fashion. At the end of the day, or at least the night, fighters can literally make excuses out of anything. Would you guys believe one of Danny Garcia's excuses to why he lost to Errol Spence was the tuna fight he requested ahead of the Errol Spence mega fight? I kid you not. I'm not making it up. Danny Garcia, ahead of the Errol Spence fight, he requested a tuna fight against Red Catch. Now all of a sudden, he insinuating that the Red Catch fight took something out of him, like Red Catch was a Crawford or something. I mean, it makes no sense. How can you turn a positive into a negative? That was literally a stay busy fight, a tuna fight against the gatekeeper that Danny Garcia wanted to have in order to stay busy while waiting for the Errol Spence mega fight. Now, even according to Danny Garcia's own logic, if the Danny Garcia that fought Red Catch was so great and so fresh, well, guess what? Danny didn't look that great anyway against Red Catch. Even the 60% version of Errol Spence right after the car accident, he would have dominated that version of Danny Garcia. Better yet, even the Danny Garcia we saw tonight against Benavidez, Errol Spence will dominate him, possibly stop him. Matter of fact, the version of Danny Garcia that fought Errol Spence looked much sharper than the version we saw tonight against Benavidez. I don't know if it's the weight or what, but the Danny Garcia that fought at 147 looked much better. Furthermore, it's not like Danny Garcia beat Jermell Charlo tonight for Danny and his pops to start making excuses to why they lost to Errol. Absolutely not. Danny Garcia beat Jose Benavidez, a natural 140-pounder that moved up all of the way to 154, just like Danny Garcia did. And this ain't the undefeated Jose Benavidez that fought Crawford we talking about. We have yet to see Danny Garcia against a legit 154-pounder. Even then, Danny Garcia still looked like the same Danny Garcia. In fact, Danny even looked better at 147. That's why it makes no sense whatsoever to why Danny and his pops feel the need to make excuses to why they lost to Errol Spence, the better man, the better fighter overall. And that's a fact. Errol Spence was at his worst when he fought Danny Garcia, and he still managed to dominate, arguably, the best version of Danny Garcia, according to Danny himself, leading up to the fight. At the end of the day, or at least the night, Danny Garcia is bigger than making excuses to why he lost to Errol Spence. He's bigger than that. It's not even about that. So what, you lost to Errol? You lost to one of the best welterweights of all time, a legendary fighter. It's not more so about winning or losing. It's more so about the best fighting the best. That's what the fans truly care about. So if you go out there and fight the best, then keep your head up and move forward. There is no shame in losing to the best. Just like in any other sport, losing is part of the game. Yeah, of course, nobody trying to lose. You heard Jamel Charlo, he don't even play video games because he don't like to lose in a freaking video game we talking about. But that's what drives us to win. That's what makes the win that much more satisfying. If winning was easy, then a win wouldn't be sweet or satisfying. With the facts being laid out, drop your thoughts in the comment section below, subscribe below, and click on the notification bell to be continued on the next episode of Akhi, Akhi TV. Peace, and I'm on to the next one.
You mentioned the Errol Spence. It has been, what, basically a year and a half since we seen you in that fight. You know, Errol was coming off the car accident, and I remember when we had talked before that, you said, man, I'm catching this guy right at the right time. When you look back on that fight and you looked at the video, what happened that night? What do you think happened that night?
You know, it was just, I don't know. You know, I felt good. I felt good going into the fight. Felt like I had a great training camp. But, you know, he's a great fighter. You know, everything looks easy from the outside. But I feel like